Hi, everyone. Welcome to the CEO Speaker Series. I'm Caden Vittorini, the CEO and founder of It Factor, your host. And today we're joined by Lauren Imparato, the CEO of Halsey Neck, managing partner, Willow Sports Intelligence, board member, best-selling author, and advisor with a diverse background spanning finance, sports, wellness, and leadership development. After graduating from Princeton University, she began her career at Morgan Stanley, where she served as vice president in fixed income, contributing to the establishment of 500 million plus businesses across emerging markets. In 2009, she founded I Am You, a pioneering health and wellness company, which she led for a decade before exiting in 2019. Currently, Lauren is the founder and CEO of Halsey Neck, an early-stage growth advisory firm focused on sports, human performance, health, and a managing partner at Willow Sports Intelligent AI private coaching platform. She also holds board roles with organizations such as Link Capital Markets, Leda Health, Women in Innovation, and the Sunny Center Foundation. Lauren is the author of the best-selling book Retox, a keynote speaker, and has been featured in over 500 publications, including GQ, Entrepreneur, and Vogue. This series is all about asking leaders what they wish they were new in college. So let's dive right into it, Lauren. So let's start with your path from student to CEO. Tell us a little bit about that path, maybe your first job, major career decisions, just overall leadership milestones.
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of first jobs. I think some were jobs I created for myself around the house, being get paid 10 cents a week or lemonade stands or whatnot. But my first job was, well, I had two at the same time. One was a coach at a sports camp, a youth sports camp, and the other was actually washing dishes in a coffee shop. And they both taught me really different things. And I remember getting my first paycheck and realizing how hard I'd worked for those dollars. And yet with only a certain amount of dollars, not even enough to, necessarily buy the pair of Jordans I wanted. But they were
Yeah,
both really educational in so many different ways.
yeah. So thinking back to yourself at Princeton University, what's a myth about success that you believed as a college student, and what was that actual reality?
I believed that I had to get straight A's to be successful. And actually, there's a lot of success in grit and hard work, and also not getting an A and losing and bouncing back up again.
Hmm? So if you could go have a conversation with your college self, where you're at today, what was one thing you would tell her?
I would tell her to worry less about what people think about me. And I think that's something that we're all still working on as a society, especially in today's visual Instagram, TikTok era. I
Yeah,
think that as a college student, I spent a lot of time concerned with what Jane and Betty and John would think of what I was doing or what I was wearing or how I was approaching a problem. And in reality, what matters is what's inside you and your value system and how you go execute in the world with that.
yeah, that's so good. And why would you say that's a big part of success? Like, you need to not let that get like take control of you in order to see that success that somebody's looking for in any field.
That's a good question. I think two things, actually. One, I would say is because success often takes a lot of rejection and a lot of losing. And so if you're worried about what all people are thinking about you all the time, it's going to be harder to bounce back up, harder to
Yeah,
take that rejection, that no, and build from it and get that yes eventually, right? If you're an entrepreneur,
yeah,
you're probably getting 99 no's before you get that one yes you really want. And the other thing is, to be successful, you have to hold true to what your value system is, and something that I think we're forgetting a bit as a society, your values and ethics. And you might want to stick to your values and ethics despite maybe a faster path to success, quote unquote, or more money or more fame. But if you're always thinking about, the Joneses and whoever, the grass is green on the other side, it might be easier to drift away from what really matters inside.
yeah. That's so good. So let's stay in college for a second. What's one thing you wish someone had told you back then? Could have been a professor, so maybe your boss at that time. What's something that you wish someone told you as a college student?
Well, I'm going to go with something somebody did tell me as a college student, and I'm
Yeah,
so grateful for it, and I talk about it all the time. One, my advisor on my thesis sat me down, and I had the topic planned, and he said, "Listen, like college is this unique period of time where your job is to learn, and your job is to be a student and learn. So what do you want to go learn about in these last, 2 years that you have left in college? And that's your only job." And I ended up changing my path of my thesis and whatnot, but I thought that was a really good thing. And I hope that people realize that their job is last time maybe in life that their job is just to learn.
yeah. So jumping towards your early career a little bit, what's an obstacle or challenge that you faced earlier in your career after graduating that was tough for you, and then how did you specifically overcome that?
I started my career, I studied literature at Princeton, but I went straight to the trading floor of Morgan Stanley, which back in the day was, pretty much boys' cowboy land. And I
Yeah.
had to learn to manage the cowboy land back in, 2002 as a female. And what I learned is that I had to protect myself and also to always to trust in people, but make sure to trust in people, but vet them as well.
Yeah.
And very different instances, whether clients or colleagues, I made sure that I was in charge of myself, going back to that ethics, that values, that long-term view of who I want to be and
Yeah.
where I want my career to go.
So what kind of helped you going through that time? So was it like a mindset shift in that moment that you kind of realized it was just gonna be maybe you on the floor there at Morgan Stanley as a girl at that time? So what kind of kept you going?
Um, I ended up having a really incredible mentor, and she, one of the other few females, and she's continued on in the industry and a huge success. And she just allowed her door to be open to me and not just like, oh, call me, message me whenever, actually
Yeah.
engaged in that, and I think that combined with a strong family network, um, made it really good for me to know that there was always somebody there if I needed someone to listen or to get
Yeah.
advice from.
Yeah. So now that you're a CEO, was there like a specific moment or decision that dramatically changed that career path from, Morgan Stanley to whatever other jobs you had between becoming a CEO?
Yeah, I was sitting on the trading floor of Morgan Stanley, always an athlete growing up in California and now in
Yeah.
Manhattan and London, and realizing that despite the way the world is now, there was no health and wellness industry or fitness industry the way we're now used to seeing it. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh my God, like I can go do this. So I left all my money on the table and all my career trajectory on the table and quit my job at Morgan Stanley to start IMU, which is then a first of its kind health, wellness, and studio sports business.
Yeah.
And that was really risky, like I'd been working hard. I had this job. It was secure. I hadn't been fired during Lehman Brothers crashing. Like it was kind of nuts to go start this concept that didn't exist yet. So there was no reference point for it. Like, when I quit, the guys on the floor were like, what are you doing? Like, we don't understand. Now it would be very obvious,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
say you're going to become an entrepreneur or work in this industry. Back then it was like the vast unknown. So I think that risk that I took, that belief that I could turn it into something huge, is what set me on my path.
I love that. And I always talk about the power of risk, right? When you're young, especially as graduating college students, you have to take that jump. You can't be having that fear of trying or fear of failure take over your mind. So I love that. And what made you choose that direction? Like, was there something specifically that you saw or that you encountered in your own personal life that made you decide that?
Yeah, it's a great question. I have always been an athlete and I've always been into
Mhm.
health and wellness without that being a phrase. It's just how I grew up in Northern California. And
Yeah.
I just saw a market opportunity. I was like, this is going to exist one day. If I don't quit now and build this business now, this industry, whatever they're going to end up calling it, will
Yeah.
explode and then I'll be chasing it. So why not get in front of it and become a forefront leader in the industry, which is exactly what happened. So I quit, worked like a dog, built up the brand, the space, all these things that are normalized now, and then when the industry did explode, I was well positioned as kind of the leader and one of the designers of the industry.
Yeah. I love that. It's so good. And, looking maybe you know some college students personally, but what do you feel like the biggest challenge students face today as a college student?
I'd say two things. One, being able to speak your mind. It's very important in my mind to learn and expand and grow in whatever industry you want to go work in because you hear thoughts and ideas from opposing sides. And I think that is something that's really precious. And college is an amazing place to have roommates living. I had a bunk beds, throughout all Princeton, roommates with different cultures and different political backgrounds, sharing a bedroom with them, sharing a bathroom with them. Being able to talk about that openly is so precious. And I really hope that on campuses these days, people are trying to get back to that ability to have an intellectual debate without it becoming
Yeah.
personal.
Yeah. So what's like some advice you have for navigating that? I'm sure a lot of college students are facing that same thing.
You know, uh, Sometimes one can have a different belief on somebody else, but still have the same value system as somebody.
Yeah.
And, just because maybe I think that I like hydrangeas better than I like roses doesn't mean we
Mhm.
shouldn't be friends because you might also
Right.
I might appreciate the scent of a rose, but I just prefer a hydrangea. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The two different flowers, right? And I think
Yep.
that we're such an all or nothing society right now because of the way we receive our news and our information on social media and our phone and our tablets and digital and ChatGPT and all the things we know about that we think that it's zero or one, and it's
Yeah.
not. when it comes to debate and to learning and thought processes and to being a functional society.
Yeah, that's so true. I definitely agree with that. Everything that you're saying there. So we're gonna change directions a little bit, and we're gonna do a pick a question game. So what I'm gonna have you do is pick a number 1 through 5, and you won't know the question until you choose. So pick a number, and then I'm gonna let you know what you selected.
5.
What's your workplace superpower?
Huh. Um, I'm really energetic, and I tend to forge through and kind of bring along that forging through, with momentum and energy and positivity. But, that focus is just, as an entrepreneur, particularly, there's a momentum game, there's an adrenaline game, and you need to ride both those waves. And the ability to just energetically push through and at the same time see problems that may happen. I call it, quote unquote, jumping the curve of problems energetically with gusto, because they might happen or they might not, but you want to be ready for them if they do.
Yeah, exactly. You got to keep the energy going. You got to keep that positivity going in the right direction. As an entrepreneur, I can definitely relate to that. So, we're going to do a lightning round here. So I'm going to get the energy going, which, you're an energetic person. I'm going to ask you 6 questions in 60 seconds, and I want you to answer on the spot. So here we go. Your favorite college class?
Probably a Spanish literature class on Don Quixote.
Ooh, sounds interesting. Your go-to coffee order?
Black coffee. Simple.
Best book or podcast recommendation?
I really love Shoe Dogs by the founder of Nike. I also read just recently, and I loved Heartbreaker by Mike Campbell of Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
Best productivity hack?
Quiet time and focus. Turning your device away, putting it in a different room.
Your dream mentor, he or she could be dead or alive?
Michael Jordan. Maybe.
What's something you do every day that helps you stay grounded?
Exercise.
So what are 3 traits, habits, or skills that helped you go from a student to a successful CEO?
Hard work, focus, and getting back up when you lose the point.
Yeah. Why those 3?
Nothing great in life comes without hard work and practice. Focus is because there's so many different distractions as you're building your business or you're on a career path, and you need to keep a focus on what the prize is for that moment, for that chapter, for that area of your life. And bouncing back up, because you can't win every point. That's the reality of life. So you can win at the big game, but you're going to have some losses along the way.
Yeah, those are really important. I think they resonate with everyone, right? No matter what field people are going down, whether they're a professional or still a student, or maybe wanting to become an entrepreneur, right? Those 3 areas go right back into everyone. So good. And what's one last piece of advice you have for students who want to lead or become more of a leader?
That's a big one. I'd say, it'd be a little bit more macro, is that we only live once, and you have one life totally, and you get to be the author of your life. And as you explore your leadership journey, think about how you want that to look in the book of you that you're reading or your grandkids are reading in 100 years.
That's something that I actually live by every single day. I talk about, you'll never get the same moment twice. So every single day, enjoying every moment, but also you're the author of your life, right? You get to write your story, every day
exactly.
is a page in your book, and I call it birthdays, a chapter in your book. So I definitely follow that as well. And lastly, great interview, but if students could only remember 10 seconds from this, what should it be?
Don't be afraid to lose a point, get back up, and always hold on to your ethics and your morals.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Lauren. I appreciate your time. And thanks to everyone who's watching. If something resonated with you today, share it with a friend or mentor. These conversations are meant to inspire action and change. And we'll see you next time on the CEO Speaker Series. Thanks again, Lauren.
Thank you so much.